Thank you, Mr. President. And Senator Middleton, I'm not sure I heard quite clearly in your exchange just now with Senator Menendez. Did you state that as amended, that the employment on a volunteer or paid basis of a chaplain on the campus would not apply towards the counselor to student ratios?
That's correct. So as amended with this floor substitute, it would not any longer. We actually laid that out in committee. And unfortunately, the first committee substitute got adopted, but not the second one that did that. So we have this amendment.
And that's certainly a good change. I appreciate it. I do have other concerns. Paragraph B of the amendment, which I guess is more of a floor substitute, refers to funds allocated under this section. Since I haven't seen the amendment before, what are we talking about funds allocated? Are we allocating funds to hire chaplains?
No, we're not. We're just qualifying a school district to decide where they can spend the funds on this particular program. We're not requiring anything as far as expenditures. It could be a voluntary position in a school district. For example, some of our smaller rural ISDs probably couldn't afford to compensate a chaplain, but they could accept a volunteer to do so. And we just want to make sure that they have the ability, if they choose, if they want, to compensate a chaplain.
And I suppose that a local school board could decide that with the money they have, look, we could hire another school counselor or we could hire a chaplain. Let's go with the chaplain. They could do that, I guess, right?
They could do that.
Okay, as long as they weren't running afoul of the counselor to student requirements, which I think you and Senator Menendez already discussed. We're not doing enough there. Maybe before session's over, we'll get there. And I heard you discussing with Senator Hinojosa whether or not a Jewish rabbi could be a chaplain, and you explained that yes, one could. A Muslim could be a chaplain, right?
Of course.
And that's great. What are the odds that a given campus is going to employ a Muslim chaplain as opposed to a Christian chaplain?
Well, look, this is a matter of the school district to decide for themselves, right? So we're not telling them which chaplains to hire, although I will tell you that as we've seen, like I mentioned earlier with TDCJ and HHSC, it's already working for the state of Texas. And we're just allowing our school districts to do the same thing that our state agencies are already doing. And I haven't seen anyone actually propose an amendment to eliminate chaplains in our state agencies. I've never seen that before. So anyway, it's something that we know works. It's already happening, and we're just authorizing our school districts to permissively opt into this program.
Right, and I appreciate that. As a practical matter, I think it's unlikely that we will see anything close to parity and representation in terms of which religion is represented by chaplains on a school campus. I just don't think we're going to see Muslim and Jewish rabbis on a campus. Chaplains do a great deal of good in hospitals. They do a great deal of good in the correctional systems. I don't think those systems are the same as our school systems. I appreciate the accommodations you've made. I still have great concern that we are continuing to break down the wall of separation that framers of our Constitution insisted on having between church and state. And so I would respectfully oppose the bill out of concerns that we are taking things that don't belong in public institutions and putting them in there. But I do appreciate the work you've done on the bill so far to make that less of a concern. It remains a concern.
Well, thank you, Senator Johnson. And, as we heard in committee, the majority, over 90% of chaplains are, of course, Christian. 91%, I believe, was the exact number. And then, it's permissive. As you referred to the separation of church and state, it's not an actual doctrine. That was in a letter from Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist. So it's not a real doctrine. What is a real doctrine is the Establishment Clause, as well. What this does is free exercise. And I think you're referring to Establishment Clause there.
It's a pretty real doctrine to some of us, but perhaps not to everyone.